Well, 50 Cent has reacted to Big Meech being all buddy-buddy with Rick Ross. And if you know 50, you know that he expects extreme loyalty from anyone he's doing business with. So it was no surprise when he threatened to cancel BMF, a show about Big Meech's life starring his son. 50 also teased a documentary about exposing Big Meech as a confidential informant.
Big Meech has officially fired back at 50 Cent, this time with direct accusations aimed at the way 50 allegedly influenced his son, Lil Meech. According to recent reports, Big Meech believes 50 has been manipulating Lil Meech and slowly turning him against his own family. With tensions climbing fast, it's becoming increasingly clear that this fallout is nowhere near finished and could easily spiral into something even bigger. In the midst of this heated exchange, Meech also brought receipts of his own, flexing details about the extravagant jewelry he claims to have purchased. "Charge me $200,000 just for this Cuban," he stated. "This Cuban is like 1,100 grams. It's chunky, real big."
Well, it seems like the issues between 50 Cent and Big Meech still have not been resolved. This after 50 Cent went to social media and gave everyone a heads up that this would be the last season of BMF. And of course, 50 had to get his jokes in when he posted this meme about Big Meech.
"I can't even wear it longer than 3 or 4 hours. My neck starts hurting. You might find a regular Cuban for 50 or 100 maybe, but this is 200 just for a kilo." His words came across as both a statement of wealth and a dig at those questioning his position. For those who've been following the saga, the cracks began showing right after Big Meech's release from prison. The turning point came when he was spotted aligning himself with Rick Ross, one of 50's most well-known rivals. That single move instantly fractured their relationship, creating a public split that's still unfolding in front of the culture. What started as business ties has now turned personal, leaving both camps trading blows with no sign of stopping. The business side of things was shaken by that moment alone, but now the real storm is unfolding. Lil Meech has found himself caught directly in the middle of the feud, and the impact is becoming more visible with every move. At first, he publicly sided with 50 Cent, showing unwavering loyalty and gratitude for the opportunities 50 gave him. But according to recent actions, that loyalty has shifted.
Still trying to find myself. My dad was calling me from jail every day. He was like, "Man, what you gonna do?" Like, shit, I don't know. I always knew I wanted to be my own person. It's just hard, to live up to my dad's name. And he called me one day, he's like, "Man, they looking at Terrence Howard and Nipsey Hussle. And I don't know if you're gonna be able to play me, but you gotta go to acting class so you can get ready." So I met 50. 50 put me in acting classes for 2 years in LA. Invested in me, paid for the acting classes. I had to go every day, two times a day, 5 days a week. In the morning, in the afternoon, come back home, study again, do the same thing the next day.
Wow, and a ball player.
Yeah, but I put in the work though, and it showed me that 50 couldn't get me the job. I had to get myself the job. My dad couldn't get me the job. They would have hired somebody else that already had acting experience. I had no experience.
Both father and son are now standing shoulder to shoulder with Rick Ross, making it very clear where their true allegiance lies moving forward. So, what exactly was the tipping point? Reports claim it was 50 Cent's direct attack on Big Meech's parenting. He accused the elder Meech of being a negative influence, particularly for enabling Lil Meech's reckless lifestyle and rumored drug use. Those accusations cut deep, striking at the core of Big Meech's image and sparking the retaliation we're now seeing. In response, rumors suggest the Flannery father-son team is preparing a counterstrike in the form of their own publicity strategy. Word in the industry is that they're planning to join forces with Floyd Mayweather and Rick Ross to launch a brand new BMF series. The goal? To rival and maybe even overshadow 50 Cent's current television empire. But insiders warn that the gamble may not go as smoothly as the Flannery camp hopes.
Yeah. So look, I do want to do a BMF film because you've been entertained by a lackluster, small budget series. Now it's time to do a big budget film. Which director? Shout out to my homie F. Gary Gray, Antoine Foucault, what's up? Tarantino, it's a lot of legends. This is gonna be big, I can feel it. I'm just talking.
Fans and industry voices are already questioning whether the new project could truly compete with 50's established brand, or if it risks collapsing under the weight of ambition and controversy. Speculation continues to grow that Big Meech and his son could be taken advantage of or even sidelined by powerful figures like Floyd Mayweather and Rick Ross, both of whom have their own financial agendas and personal rivalries to protect. The question now is, what exactly does Big Meech plan to do in order to fire back at 50 Cent and reclaim control of the narrative? One thing is certain, Meech is officially resisting by refusing to let 50 Cent use his name to fuel further projects.
Charged me $200,000 just for this Cuban. This Cuban is like 1,100 grams. It's chunky, real big. I really can't have it on for longer than 3 or 4 hours. My neck started hurting. You know, you might find a regular Cuban for 50 or for 100 maybe, but it's 200 just for a kilo.
What's the pendant cost?
3 just for a pendant. Yeah, this is Antarctica. It's the big boy. This thing called it Antarctica. It's the chandelier. I might have seen even Cali with this one. It's that big boy, you know.
How much is it worth?
2 million.
The Black Mafia family leaders seemed prepared to retaliate after 50 not only criticized his parenting, but publicly labeled him a negative influence on his son. The fallout escalated even further when 50 Cent severed ties with Lil Meech altogether and hinted that the BMF series could be canceled. That's when the tension truly exploded. Lil Meech, scrambling to mend the relationship, allegedly reached out directly to 50 in an attempt to smooth things over. Sources claim he tried to explain that the viral photo of Big Meech with Rick Ross, the very image that sparked the feud, was nothing more than a business transaction, not a betrayal. In leaked text messages, Lil Meech reportedly wrote, "F Ross, but he gave my dad some bread so he can afford to pay his bills until our new season starts. I'm confused by this online stuff, dude." His words revealed desperation to salvage ties with 50, while also showing just how much pressure he was under being caught between loyalty to his father and the man who gave him his first big break. "I'm someone you actually know."
Right, they don't even understand that you don't. You know, the way we grew up, you're supposed to spend no more than 10 or 20% of what you make.
That was Lil Meech's plea to 50 Cent, but the message reportedly fell on deaf ears. 50 had no interest in explanations or justifications. Instead, he coldly responded by asking what the next season would bring, hinting that Lil Meech's run on BMF was officially finished. Then, in typical 50 fashion, he twisted the knife even deeper. He mocked Lil Meech's future, joking that with BMF no longer in play, his next stop might be love and hip-hop, Atlanta. "Next, I'll call Mona Scott on his behalf later today," 50 added, fueling the humiliation with cutting sarcasm that spread quickly online. But 50 wasn't done. He pivoted his focus back to Big Meech and Rick Ross, questioning their roles as fathers and mentors. To drive his point home, 50 dug up an old video that allegedly showed Lil Meech with Rick Ross's daughter, Toy Roberts. By resurfacing that footage, he attempted to portray Ross and Meech as men who had failed to provide proper guidance, instead surrounding their kids with questionable influences. These attacks weren't random, they were calculated, personal, and designed to wound reputations on multiple fronts. What started as posts about business deals and TV contracts had now turned into targeted strikes meant to cut into pride and credibility. With Big Meech reportedly refusing to retreat, the standoff only looks like it's heating up. And 50, relentless as always, has kept pressing forward, this time calling out Rick Ross for failing to step up and take real action when it mattered most. 50 Cent turned the spotlight directly on Rick Ross, questioning his role in the entire saga. He pointed out the hypocrisy, how Ross, who now stands proudly beside Big Meech, was nowhere to be found when the Flannery family was struggling during Meech's incarceration. In one post, 50 pressed the issue bluntly. Why didn't Ross send Meech to acting school to protect him? From there, the attacks grew sharper. "None of your so-called people helped him," 50 wrote, mocking Ross for projecting himself as hip-hop's version of Pablo Escobar while failing to support the family in real moments of need. According to 50, Ross's loyalty only appeared after Big Meech's release, when it was convenient to stand beside the legend. Then came the real reminder. 50 reminded fans that while Big Meech was behind bars, it was him who stepped up. He credited himself with keeping the Flannery family in check, claiming he provided genuine opportunities rather than empty buzz. The most explosive part was 50's revelation about money. He alleged that Lil Meech squandered everything earned from his time on BMF. "I helped your family make over $5 million legitimate dollars," he declared. "Now that it's all gone, it's not my fault." The internet immediately split in response. Critics blasted 50 for cutting ties with Lil Meech so quickly over what looked like just a business photo with Rick Ross. But others backed him up, arguing he had every right to feel betrayed after years of personal investment and public validation of the Flannery name. The debate only added more fuel to an already raging fire, leaving fans wondering how far this feud will ultimately go. Industry voices soon started weighing in on the feud, and one of the most talked about responses came from Boozy. Speaking openly about the situation, Boozy made it clear that he wasn't impressed with how Lil Meech handled things. He specifically pointed out that Lil Meech's tone in the text messages to 50 Cent came across as overly polite, especially considering the fact that 50 had been publicly attacking his father. According to Boozy, if he had been in the same situation, the response would have been much more forceful. In his view, when someone takes public shots at your family, particularly at your father, the tone of the conversation instantly changes, no matter what kind of business relationship exists behind the scenes. Of course, 50 wasn't going to let those comments slide. He immediately made it clear where he stood. As a direct rebuttal to Boozy's criticism, 50 argued that he had done more for Lil Meech than anyone else, even more than Big Meech himself. To prove his point, 50 reposted a clip of Boozy's interview with the caption, "I did more for Meech than anyone in his life." That's why he responded that way. "Boozy, I'll be the first person he calls if he ever gets locked up." But just as the dust from that exchange began to settle, another bombshell dropped. Actor Russell Hornsby, who starred in the BMF series, revealed that Lil Meech appeared to be intoxicated on set. According to 50, he was forced to step in immediately, claiming he had to intervene to keep the production from spiraling out of control. According to 50 Cent, things behind the scenes got even more chaotic when Lil Meech started throwing up during a weapons training exercise. The incident raised eyebrows, and shortly after, Meech allegedly admitted to having whippets stored in his truck. 50 even said he had to ask what whippets were, only to learn they're the same chemical found in compressed air canisters. A shocking revelation that he used as a subtle reference to his hit TV series Power. To add more fuel to the fire, Lil Meech posted a cryptic picture on Instagram just days later, leaving fans questioning his motives. If one thing has become clear, it's that the chessboard is wide open, and the alliances around BMF have shifted dramatically. But here's the twist. Rick Ross's rumored plan for a BMF movie may never see the light of day. Why? Because legally, he would need 50 Cent's approval to move forward with any official production tied to the brand. And no matter how severe the conflict with the Flannery family becomes, insiders insist that fact isn't changing anytime soon. In fact, sources say 50's G-Unit film and television division is only pushing harder. TMZ confirmed that one of their next big plays will be a biopic focused on Tammy Cowens, a key figure connected to the business side of BMF. Fans and industry insiders are increasingly lining up behind 50 Cent, applauding his ability to stay in control of the brand while keeping the narrative firmly in his hands, even as the drama around the Flanneries continues to grow. Lil Meech is facing heavy criticism for allegedly wasting what many call a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Instead of securing his future after landing one of the most recognizable television roles in recent years, he reportedly let it slip through his hands in record time. According to reports, Lil Meech burned through his BMF earnings within just a few years, failing to set money aside or invest in anything long-term. Sources say he spent millions on luxury habits, splurging on designer wardrobes, flashy jewelry, and exotic cars. What made matters worse was how public he made these choices, flaunting his purchases online for the world to see. One of the most talked about flexes was his claim of spending $2 million on a diamond-encrusted watch, followed by countless posts showing himself draped in luxury brands like Chrome Hearts jeans and other high-end pieces. The optics were damaging, with critics arguing that the loud spending only highlighted a lack of foresight. Industry voices have since weighed in. Reports estimate Lil Meech spent around $5 million without making any type of investment to secure stability for the future. Former G-Unit member Tony Yayo even chimed in, saying Meech had begun to act with an entitled air. Yayo pointed out that while Meech was bragging about dropping $100,000 on designer trousers, he was also reportedly reaching out to artists like Lil Baby for help covering Big Meech's expenses. The contradictions only deepened the backlash. Not long before this, Lil Meech was pledging loyalty to 50 Cent while distancing himself from Rick Ross. Yet weeks later, the narrative flipped again, leaving fans and insiders questioning his judgment and wondering if the BMF brand's future is now at risk. Lil Meech now stands beside 50 Cent's most well-known adversaries, and that sudden shift has raised serious questions. The backlash isn't just about loyalty, it's about timing, strategy, and the bigger picture. Reports suggest that Big Meech and Lil Meech could be teaming up with Rick Ross and Floyd Mayweather on a rival BMF film project, one designed to compete directly with 50's empire. On the surface, the idea sounds ambitious, but behind the scenes, things get complicated fast. The rights to Big Meech's life story are no longer under his control, meaning any attempt to launch a competing project would require Mayweather and Ross to repurchase those rights. That raises difficult questions. Will they secure them? And if they do, will they reshape the BMF legacy in a completely different direction? Some insiders argue this alliance could be nothing more than a bold attempt to stall 50 Cent's momentum rather than a serious business venture. Others believe it might be a calculated move to create a new lane, even if it means rewriting history along the way. Either way, the industry is watching closely. The headlines may be dramatic, but in the end, it's the contracts, rights, and ownership that decide what really gets made and who ultimately profits. So what do you think? Did 50 Cent go too far when he accused Big Meech of being a bad influence on his son? And is this partnership with Ross and Mayweather a true business strategy, or simply retaliation disguised as ambition? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that like button, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you never miss an update. And if you're ready for even more shocking twists, tap on the next video right now.